Little Red Riding Hood was excited to visit her grandmother who lived in the house on the other side of the forest. With her bright red dress and basket full of goodies, she headed down the flowery path. Little Red Riding Hood's mother had warned her not to stray from the trail and not to talk to strangers. However, as she walked happily, she was unaware that the big bad wolf was watching her from a distance. The wolf, with his cunning eyes, planned a trick to get what he wanted. Little Red sang and danced without knowing the danger that was approaching. The forest seemed peaceful, but the wolf was about to disturb that peace. The big bad wolf approached Little Red Riding Hood with a cunning smile on his face. He greeted her in a friendly manner, complimenting her beautiful dress and basket full of goodies. Little Red Riding Hood, enchanted by the conversation, responded with joy and confidence. The wolf began to ask questions about where she was going, and Little Red, without suspecting it, told him about visiting her grandmother. The wolf, thinking of a plan to get there before her, made a sly suggestion about a shorter and more pleasant route. Little Riding Hood, believing the wolf's words, decided to follow the suggested path. As Little Red Riding Hood followed the shortest route suggested by the wolf, he ran along the path straight to his grandmother's house. Once there, he knocked on the door and, with a soft voice, pretended to be Little Red Riding Hood. The grandmother, without suspecting it, opened the door and the wolf locked her in the closet. Disguised in his grandmother's dress and hood, the wolf lay down on the bed, waiting for Little Riding Hood to arrive. The wolf was eager to complete his evil plan, but he didn't count on the girl's cunning. Little Red Riding Hood finally arrived at her grandmother's house, following the shortest route suggested by the wolf. Upon entering, she noticed that something seemed strange. The house was silent and dark, and Little Red called for her grandmother but got no answer. With a bit of hesitation, she approached the room. When he entered, he saw the figure on the bed and was surprised by the grandmother's appearance. The wolf's eyes, which looked strangely large and bright, and the ears were also unusual. Little Red, feeling a strange sensation, began to realize that something was wrong. Little Red Riding Hood approached the bed and began to question Grandmother about the strange features she noticed. "Grandma, why are your eyes so big?" she asked. "To see you better," replied the wolf in a sly tone. "Grandma, why are your ears so big?" Little Red continued. "To hear you better," replied the wolf. "And why is your mouth so big?" asked Red Riding Hood, now very suspicious. The wolf, impatient and revealing his true character, replied, "It is to devour you." With a leap, he got out of bed, revealing his true identity. Little Red Riding Hood screamed and tried to run out of the room, but the wolf chased her. The girl was desperate, running around the house and trying to find a way to escape. She remembered her mother's words and the importance of not talking to strangers. As she fled, she found the closet where her grandmother was locked and quickly freed her. The relieved grandmother helped Little Red look for a way to escape the wolf. Together, they came up with a plan to get rid of the wolf and protect the house. Little Red Riding Hood and her grandmother managed to escape from the house and ran to the main road to ask for help. They met a hunter who was passing by, and upon telling him what had happened, he immediately went to his grandmother's house to confront the wolf. The hunter, with his skill and courage, found the wolf trying to escape and managed to capture it. With the help of the hunter, the grandmother's house was saved and the wolf was taken far away, out of the forest. With the wolf away, Little Red Riding Hood and her grandmother could breathe a sigh of relief. They hugged each other, thanking the hunter for his help. The house was safe again, and Little Red promised that she would never stray from the path or talk to strangers again. The hunter smiled and said goodbye, going on his way. Little Red and her grandmother decided to prepare a big meal to celebrate their victory and their safety, and joy returned to the house. That night, while Little Red Riding Hood and her grandmother were together, they talked about what they learned from the experience. Little Red promised to be more careful in the future and always follow her mother's advice. They felt grateful for the hunter's help and the fact that they were safe. The two went to sleep peacefully, knowing that the forest was at peace again and that they were protected from danger. The experience taught them to value safety and the importance of being alert. The next day, Little Red Riding Hood and her grandmother were happier than ever. They decided to take a walk through the forest. But this time, Little Red was always attentive and following her mother's instructions. The grandmother praised her for her prudence and for having learned her lesson. They had a lot of fun together, and Little Red felt proud of having overcome the challenge with the help of her grandmother and the hunter. The moral of the story was clear. It is always important to listen to the advice of your elders and be careful with strangers. Moral of the story: always listen to your parents' advice and be careful around strangers, as prudence and attention can help you avoid danger. If you liked our story, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave a like on the video. Until next time.